Mic'd up. You ready? All right, scoot your butt back. Lean all the way forward. Forward. There you go. Booty crack. That shit's tight. The tattooing out loud. We talk about the entitlement of these apprentices these days. I'm Gunner. I've been tattooing 14 years. Specialize in black and gray realism. You know, LA style, black and gray. Welcome to LA. Welcome to sunny California. For tattooing, I started the old school way. State prison, you know?
Prison program,
right? Lockdowns, guitar string. Just fell in love with the actual craft of tattooing. Parole programs, you know, I couldn't get a job. Nobody wanted to hire me. We sacrificed a lot. We traveled. I'm sure you feel the same way. I barely got to see the younger ages of my kids while dedicating my life to tattooing. To go off of that, right? There's so many places tattooing has taken us. You know what I mean? Me and you, where I would have never thought of.
We had that small hotel where that tattoo bed was against the window. And we had to sleep on that.
Where was that? San Diego?
Yeah.
San Diego.
San Diego. Don't roll that way because you're going out the window.
Remember Sweetie hanging out the window to smoke? We used to be the last one. If we had these back then, they would never be able to kick us out. They would shut down the power on us so that our coils would stop. DC
was like that. If I remember,
you know what?
We went with Brian.
I remember me and you tattooing in New Mexico, so the whole thing was empty.
Oh, that's
and it was me, and you were like across from me.
Far, we were yelling at each other like.
The homie Brian Ramirez brought me into guest spot at Under the Gun. Big homie Chente gave me a shot, and you know the rest was history. That place was one of the most magical places I've ever been in. You know, it's crazy having you here and us talking about this. Brings back so much crazy memories, dog. I don't agree with some of the stuff from back in the day, but at the same time, I do agree with earning your due. You don't just get it handed to you. You know what I'm saying? This ain't a free ride. We didn't have a free ride. You should have to earn it. Like, I've had apprentices that have quit. They don't realize that their breakdowns and setups, taking out the trash, is damn near nothing compared to the network and the knowledge and the people you get to meet if you want to be a tattooer. Like me and you, we built a relationship that'll be lifelong. It's a brotherhood. As a mentor, I'm not the only one that can teach you here. 10 amazing artists that are here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what do you got to do? Go get their coffee? It's asking the bare minimum and giving the whole enchilada in return. You got to figure out a way to find inspiration in something that you love instead of just going the regular route that society wants you to go. You know what I mean?
The very first live tattoo session, doing it up with my boy Gunner. Gunner and I have a lot of history together, and I came down, been able to give his shop as a whole shop.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the shop, bro.
All right, welcome to the shop.
It's an honor to have you here with us.
On location at Western Ave. Go ahead and give us your intro, how long you've been tattooing, the style that you do.
I'm Gunner. I've been tattooing 14 years. Specialize in black and gray realism. You know, LA style, black and gray. Welcome to LA. Welcome to sunny California.
Welcome to Koreatown.
Right. Welcome to K-Town. This is where we're at, you know.
Hey, so how did you find this shop? How did you find this location as far as, because, man, we had a whole 5 hours of conversation before this.
Right.
We should just walk down with a microphone. You
Straight
up. So this is session 4, right? On this back piece?
Yeah, I think so. Session 4 or 5.
It's like 4.
I think it's 4.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I think it's 4.
And I'll have pictures of it. I've been trying to take pictures of the before process when he was laying down the stencil, but it has this whole, like, it's a collage. We're working on a Cerberus tattoo at the very bottom. How did you find this spot where you currently are?
So, you know what? For this spot, it was weird, right? It was mid-COVID.
Yeah.
When I found the spot. Before this, I was at world famous Under the Gun Tattoo.
UTG,
on Melrose. Shout out UTG. You know, where it all happened. The shutdown, COVID had us all closed down, and I had been wanting to open a shop for, years, but the dynamic at UTG was just so perfect, and the crew and everything was just so perfect. It was like hard to leave,
Right.
And, I think the COVID and that whole thing kind of opened everyone's eyes to like, how the world really could change in an instant. How sometimes you just got to make the leap,
Yeah, the world took a pause.
The world took a pause and gave everybody, you know, a little wake up call. And the thing was that they shut us down down here in LA. We were completely shut down. We weren't allowed to tattoo at all, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody in this industry was kind of like, all right, well, we're getting $1,200 a month. How are we supposed to live off that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we supposed to support our families and you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on in our lives, right? So, and then we're completely shut. We can't eat. We can't do nothing, right? It turned into a situation where, like, are you just gonna listen to the government that's telling you to close down and you can't tat, or are you just gonna make something work? You know? So we were tattooing, like, you know, underground, and we were traveling and doing whatever we could. Then again, you know, all the, like, travels were shut down, hotels were kind of shut down, like, you know, you couldn't really maneuver, right? And then with COVID, it was kind of scary because, you know, you don't want to take that kind of stuff back, or you don't want to spread it. You don't know what it was. A lot of devastating things happened. So, you know, we just had to kind of manage and maintain through what was going on. You know what I mean? Like, how was it up there? Like, it was...
it was worse out here because we're just seeing it in the news, but you guys are living it.
Oh, we were living it firsthand, dude. Like, I have photos of the military in the street with Humvees, right? National Guard. Or in the middle of the street with Humvees.
I remember that, yeah.
You know what I mean? AR-15s standing in the street, you know? Dude, over here, there was full-on riots.
Yeah.
People looting.
That for sure is a more... for sure common thing.
Like, there was a point when, you know, we were still at Under the Gun and it was happening. Like, we were standing on the roofs, like, watching shit go down, you know?
Like,
making sure they didn't come towards us, you know what I mean?
How it plays out, huh?
You know, everything was shut down. And back to, like, you know, how I found the shop was, it was kind of weird, like, on some meant to be kind of thing. I was just like scrolling through Instagram, and one of those ads popped up, like, commercial properties for lease. I've never looked up any commercial at this point, right?
Did you talk about it or no?
Nah, mate, I don't know. It just popped up, right? So I was bored enough. I just started kind of scrolling, you know? I happened to stumble across this, you know, this rental property right here, this commercial property, and I was just so bored and not, you know, at home. I was like, oh, I'm going to go check it out. You know, it's down the street from the house. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah.
So I came over, checked it out, and, like, you know, it was one of those things where, like, you know, it sounds corny, but it's like one of those you know kind of moments.
Yeah. Were you already kind of ready to branch out?
Honestly, I wasn't.
I was gonna say, was that already in the plans? Or?
It really wasn't. I had no plans of leaving Under the Gun at all. Like, it was 100% just like out of the blue, spontaneous kind of thing. It just came out, you know. Like, I would have never thought, like, oh, I'm gonna go open my shop on Western. You know, never, right? And when I found it, it was one of those, like, you know, the light bulb turned on and just kind of clicked, like, oh, this could be it, you know?
Right.
Like, and, you know, me and you, we worked together for, you know, probably since the last decade, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And, you know, I always wanted to open a shop. I always wanted to kind of have my thing, you know?
I remember we would talk about it on the road.
Right. It was always like, you know, I know I've asked you this before when you had your shop, and it was like, how do you know it's the right spot? You know what I mean? It's such a big thing to do.
Yeah.
And
you know, you're setting your roots, you're starting the grounds, right, of your, especially if you're working on these shops that are iconic as far as what names come out of there, the start of what hitters come out of there, or what become of these people that nobody knows, right? Like, this is going to be a historical place. You know what I'm saying? But
how do you know it's the right place? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you know it's time to make the leap?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know you're ready? You know what I mean? It's one of those kind of things. And right in the middle of COVID was a scary time to do it.
Like, well,
because it's like, fuck, every business is failing, you know? Everyone, you know, the economy's falling. Like, you know, there's riots, there's havoc, there's this new disease and virus that's killing all these people. And it's like, you know, some people say it was fake, some people, but at the end, it really did kill a lot of people, you know? Shut down a lot of businesses, you know, change of pace in, like, the Koreatown economy and businesses was huge, right? Everyone was closing down.
Yeah.
The health department was raiding people that were still trying to tat. Realistically,
they're really pushing the issue.
Oh, they were pushing the issue, dude. And realistically, when I first got it and we built it out, they were talking about opening, tat shops and nail salons and restaurants and whatnot, but they just weren't doing it. I remember trying to get our health department license and get everything right and contacting the Los Angeles Health Department, and they just weren't responding.
Yep.
They were sending emails like, "Oh, we're not doing that now." So it's like, so what are we supposed to do, right? So we just tattooed for like the first year with the doors closed. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
You just kind of had to. It was either that or your kids aren't going to eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
It was just like a crazy time in the world to start. I have a picture down there that's like right in the COVID riots.
Oh,
and I hung that photo in honor of the day we opened the shop.
Yeah, that memory, huh?
As a matter of fact, crazy thing, today is my 4th year anniversary. Today of opening the shop.
Oh,
yeah, the day I signed the lease. Today is
the actual
the actual day, dude. Today's year number 4 of Western Ave Tattoos being open.
Hey, congrats to you, because so far what we spoke about how this place was, you definitely not only reshaped it, gave it a facelift.
Oh man,
you turned it into a whole different building where you really had to have a vision. When I walked into my building, the very first day I walked into the building, it was gutted, holes on the wall. And so I looked at it, and actually Emmett, my son that's with me right now, he was, his brother was in school at the time, and he wasn't in preschool yet. So he came with me, and the landlord opened it up for me, and he was just walking around, standing in the very back, just kind of facing forward. And like you said, dude, you have to really like breathe it in and have that vision start, like, this is going to go here, or the potential. Can you pull this off? Is this the one? Because you got to breathe it in. And well, prior to that, I had opened another shop before that one, like super small, like
right.
But that one was more of a last minute pull the trigger kind of thing too, because I was just like, I just need a spot that isn't a garage or a house.
Right. You just need a place, like
so
somewhere
I was
right.
Like, I'm just gonna pull the trigger on this spot. And you walked in, bro, and it was like I think because I was surrounded by that old school. You just said it not too long ago. That old school, the way we were brought up, right? The very old school way. You walk into that old shop, bro, and left and right flash everywhere. It was a traditional looking shop, dude. It was just straight like.
Right, which what back then that's what it was.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
So that's what you put yourself in that comfort of. That's like your environment.
Right, just what you're used to.
Just what you're used to.
Back then I feel like also that's what tattooing was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You walked into a shop,
flash racks,
portfolios on the table. Right. It was pre. I mean, there was social media, but it wasn't as crazy and prevalent as it is now.
Yeah.
There was no TikTok, you know what I mean? There was no Instagram, like Reels, and it was still.
I mentioned it to Dom, the last artist from Baltimore. I told him, back in the day, our internet was books.
Right.
All these books right here. When I was looking around, I saw your book collection. I was like, there it is.
That was
tattooing. How it started.
Right.
That was our internet.
Either that or just hand sketching.
Yeah, or you just know a guy that was tattooing. You could walk into a shop and at least get exposed to that, or start getting tattooed to see how it's like,
Right. There was no iPad stencils,
Yeah.
I still stencil with the hand,
before Gunner started, paper. I got footage of him hand stenciling things. Part of the convention wait time, or back in the day, it's like you have your client go do some rounds, give me like about 30, 40 minutes. And say,
Yeah,
let me sketch it up, come back like in 30, 40. You take a deposit name, and then we call them up whenever we're ready or something. Now it's kind of like, go ahead and take a seat.
Right.
Well, I mean, at least, even for you, though, you're still sticking it to you have your procedure, right? The way you do your things. But I feel like back then, man, I remember it was just like, sit down, hand stencil, and if you have to resize it, or hey, can you add this to it, or take this away, or whatever the case, make sure you get all those little details, or if it's not on the wall, we're not going to do it, like the tattoo flash.
Right.
I remember those days where it's like, it ain't on the wall, we can't tattoo it. You know what I mean?
If it ain't on the wall, we don't have it.
Yeah.
We're fresh out.
That was literally like that. I remember those days, dude.
Oh, those are the days.
So, like, your first shop, how did you get into tattooing? Like, when I first met you, you just had very subtle like your back, your St. Louis tat.
So for tattooing, I started the old school way. State prison,
The prison program.
Prison program, right? Lockdowns, guitar string, CD player motors, you know, that shit, burning ink or hobby ink, right? And pretty much just fell in love with the actual craft of tattooing, you know?
Yeah.
And even back then, and this is another thing that I think we spoke about, is like tattooing has become such a good career now, and people treat it as like such a job, you know?
Yeah.
Where, you know, of course you got to make money to support your family, and you got to make, you know, it's the grind, you know? I get it, it's the grind, but like, I think when I started tattooing, it was more just for the love of being able to tattoo into somebody's skin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And back then, nobody was making fucking 2,000-3,000 a day.
That was
you know what I'm saying?
of.
That was unheard of, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was
just
like
getting pull up with a 6-pack.
Right. Even the top of the line guys were, you know,
homies like, yeah, bring or go buy the needle or go buy the supplies, and then homeboy will tat you or something. That's why I got my first tattoo. I got to bring him the stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just laying there on homeboy's bed, you know, and dude was fresh out, and you got the pattern. You know what I'm saying?
Straight up. And it, you know, it just started off like that for me. You know, it just started off as like, when I got out the pen, like, I didn't really have anything going. You know what I mean? I didn't know what I wanted to do.
You never really had like a job, right? Like,
you know what? I tried when I got out. I really tried to get a job, but these prison and thank God I wasn't able to. You know, but these like parole programs and shit. You know, I couldn't get a job. Nobody wanted to hire me, right? So it was like just still tattooing. You know, I'm just. Hobby shit, you know. I don't got nowhere to go. I ain't got no job. I ain't got shit to do.
You get a record back then. The record, that was a real strict thing.
Oh yeah,
you get sucked into a factory job.
You ain't getting shit.
You're not gonna.
Dude, they wouldn't give me a job at Jack in the Box.
Oh yeah.
Like I applied.
You're not qualified.
You know what I mean? Imagine me over there at Jack in the Box. You know, right?
Yeah. So that's crazy, dude. But imagine if you, let's say, you would have found a different path, right? And you get like sucked into some routine where you ultimately you don't enjoy what you do.
I would have been miserable.
Yeah, man. Tattooing has I don't want to say it's a catch-22, but it's a gift and a curse.
Oh, 100%, dude.
We're like married to that machine, you know what I mean? So death do us part.
I live here, basically,
Straight
right?
Up, man,
Go home to visit your family, and then you come back here, you know?
Straight up, dude. Like that's I was curious how you had to start. Now you said that, I remember when we would sit down and you had the pen, ballpoint pen, on a hat or a flat, just regular paper, and you're doing art with just a pen, and that's something new that I was like, okay. I was like, dang, Gunner's over there like spending hella time on this painting or this drawing. It wasn't even a painting, it was just you with a blue pen or a black pen. I have a lot of your drawings that you given me back in the day, and the Lowrider magazine one that you got in there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Where's it?
That one up there.
There it is. That same exact one. I have the printout, the actual like pages, right? When you signed it. When you walk into the shop, right where the front desk is, that one is right there, dude. That painting is like right there, right? And in the booths, I have the one that it has like the skull and it looks like the skin tear.
Yeah.
That one's right there in the booth too. Like, all your artwork, dude, that I've had. When I first put up all my artwork, the ones that were very on top were just all the closest ones that I had from like just close artists that I knew that I just traveled with, right? But that was the first time I actually saw someone like working on a paper drawing like prison style with that pen, creating that contrast on just with the ballpoint. Right. That's actually really difficult if you think about it. A lot of people can't do that still. There's a lot of
that shit just comes from trying to burn time, you know, like you ain't got nothing to do.
I'm gonna take my time. I remember you had a bottom corner of the paper done, dude, and with it was like maybe Friday morning, you know, we're all set up, but doors don't open until 2, and you're just sitting there and just working on the bottom half of a corner of a random paper.
Right, at an expo.
At an expo, dude. I remember seeing that, you know. You never saw me sitting there working on Flash. I was like, hell, I'm ready to go, dude. I was like, when are they opening doors?
I used to go. Remember those days, dude? Fucking that shit was nuts.
I remember the days when, like...
Oh, man, that was nuts.
We were, like, revved up, ready to go. Like, these doors can't open up soon enough. We're trying to pick people up in the line.
And the thing that I realize now, that the last show I went to, or like the community of artists now, it's like everyone like feels like because they tattoo they're rock stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or because or that's why everybody wants to get into this shit, because they think they're gonna be a rock star, right?
Like
But
the wrong idea.
they don't realize that this shit is a real grind and this is a real life for us. You know what I mean? Like, we
Yeah.
really dedicated our lives to this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
a lot of it, man. Lives, the
you know,
sacrifices.
we sacrificed a lot. We traveled. I'm sure, you know, you
Yeah.
feel the same way. Like, you know, I barely got to see the younger ages of my
Yeah.
kids while dedicating my life to tattooing, you know?
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Now it's like you get these like kids that are on some prima donna shit, and they just think like because they tattoo, they're just like so cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, fucking they don't want to do certain tats, or they just want to, you know, it's a different world right now for tattooing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you can't keep up with pace that it's at, the rate and the speed of all that, you're gonna get ran over, man. Like
Right.
I mentioned earlier, I was like, if I hadn't already have started where I did start, I don't think I would do that now. Like real life issues that you just, how are you gonna get the bread? Like you're gonna fall back to what you, the best of what you can do already, which is like tattooing. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, tattooing, it saved my life in many ways, because if it wasn't for this,
you know what? 100% tattooing saved my life. Tattooing has legit saved my life.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, I can't even say how much it saved my life, but it has, bro. It's changed my whole life, you know, for the better, for my family, for everybody, you know what I mean? And it all started as just a passion and a hobby, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one ever would have, if you would have told me that I'd be supporting my family off of this fucking craft 14 years ago, I would have been like, no fucking way, you know?
Yeah.
There's no way I would have thought that this would have, you know, turned into a whole business for me, and a, you know, a whole craft and a real trade for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Like this wasn't really an option. This was more like,
this was brought out from just loving to tattoo and not having nothing else to do.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean? But this.
The environment you were in also, everyone's story and everybody's start is different. So the way you came up, the neighborhood, the, you know, everything that surrounds it and comes with it, I saw it firsthand. The times that I come out here and like meet up with you and or guest spot in the area, and that's the first time I've ever been to Koreatown. I was like, this is K-Town. I never been through here.
Crazy, right?
You know, this is my hood, and I was like, all right, I see it. And then I reflected, and I was like, there's more to Gunner than,
dude.
You know what I mean?
To go off of that, right? There's so many places tattooing has taken us. You know what I mean? Me and you, where I would have never thought of just by tattooing. Expos.
Imagine doing something else that would not have taken you, unless you choose to like
New Mexico. Remember New Mexico?
Yeah, New Mexico. Circa 2000.
Right. Back with Freddie Negretti and rest in peace Boo Boo, and you know, all the homies at UTG, Chente, or Sweepy. Shout out Sweep Dog.
Shout out Sweeps.
Sweepy, man.
There's stories, bro. If we got him in here, we wouldn't even talk.
Oh, dude.
You know, he would just like steal the show.
You need to get Sweepy on the podcast.
Yeah, this is gonna have to be like a segment thing, bro. This is like volume 1. Sure. And we're gonna revisit where we actually all sit down.
We're definitely gonna have to
bring it back. Get like, you know, the ones that actually like sat in on the booth and really man, the stories. You know, one of the most memorable moments before we get into like more of the past stuff is like we had that small hotel where that Tatso bed was against the window. Remember that? And we had to sleep on that.
Where was that? San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego. San Diego. Don't roll that way because you're going out the window.
Remember Sweepy hanging out the window to smoke?
Hey, there was like an event. Oh, it was just like downtown San Diego, so it was always live, right? And,
gas lamp.
We were just right there. That room
that shit was crazy.
Dude, I remember we opened that door, bro, and we're like, what is this?
Dude, that room was so small, it was probably the size of our bathroom here.
Oh, yeah.
For real.
How many? It was like 4 of us in there.
It was like 4 of us sleeping in there.
That if
2 beds.
If we didn't have that tassel bed, bro, we would be on the ground, dude.
For real. It used to be such a grind that back in the day we slept on the floor. You know what I mean? We've had to share rooms and sleep on the floor.
Phoenix,
just to be able to turn a profit with the tats. You know, Phoenix, or Body Art Expo.
Hey, we're all going in on a room. I mean, we're all going in on everything. We're so young into the whole like I like to call it, like it was its own generation of tattoo artists. Like
Oh,
everybody
hell
had
yeah.
their, you know, back in the day, the guys were introducing. They were trying to make their mark or make the impact in like the very first conventions, the very first Pomona, the very first body art in SF. Remember
that
SF?
Cow Palace?
Cow Palace used to be the spot. I
Dude,
remember
Cow
we never
Palace
missed a
was the
we never missed
spot.
a beat, dude. We were just like, hey, when's the next one? Let's go, let's do it.
Dude, Cow Palace was the shit.
I remember you'd call me and be like, what's up? We're gonna go to Baltimore. Hey, we're gonna go here. We're gonna go there. Boom. I'll send you the ends. At least let's go reserve the booth. And it was just me, you, or it'd be us and like another whole set. So we would get two different. You'd pay for one half, I'd pay for the other half, and then all the other artists would come in.
Right. Those were the days.
Yeah,
man.
I'm just now that we're like that just unlocked the whole memory. Right, it all links together, right? So I just remember the days we'd get back into town, and sometimes it'd be like, when's the next one, or right away though. But it was like within a month.
But you know what? You're one of the hardest working motherfuckers I've ever met, bro. We used to be at the expos, and you would be tattooing till fucking 5, 6 in the morning, and had to flip that clock to the next day and come right back.
Remember we schooled, or I'll sit there and schooling Sweeps how to get that mouthpiece, and like, remember that? Training him like, hey man, this is how we're gonna do it. Yo, he was like, we rewired that poor guy, dude. He's probably PTSD from us, you know. Like,
we would legit sit there and do 10 tattoos a day.
If anything, we could take that credit. The grind and hustle that he has right now, part of it has to be from the, you know.
Oh, that was definitely from the expo circuit for sure.
Yeah, dude, that was the days though, to be able to like just learn the system and have, because there really is a technique to it, man.
You know what? That's a whole game in itself, bro. That's a whole game in itself. We used to be the last ones at the body art expos and getting kicked out. Remember they would shut down the lights on us?
But you gotta understand, we're young into this, and we had these huge like aspirations and goals that stuff just started clicking, right?
Right.
So we look around and we're like, hey Gunner, they're starting to take the drapes down. And we're still going. We have our little boombox and our light, and then
remember they would shut down the lights. I was about to say that. Hey, and if we had these back then, they would never be able to kick us out.
Touch us, dude.
Dude, they would shut down the power on us so that our coils would stop.
All the security guards already knew. Sunday, when we say it's time to stop, you guys better stop. They would tell us when we show up.
Hey, I remember one time they shut down the lights on us. And you had your headlamp, and you were still rocking
the headlamp. Didn't you get one after?
Oh hell yeah, I got one just for that. But then they started getting smart and shutting down the power,
everything, dude.
And then that was it. We couldn't tat anymore.
Yo, I think we did that like in Arizona. We did it at Cal Palace.
Every place we went, bro. Arizona, Cal Palace, Pomona, DC.
DC was like that. If I remember, you know what? We went with Brian.
I remember me and you tattooing in New Mexico, so the whole thing was empty.
Oh, that's
right. And it was me, and you were like across from me.
Far, we were yelling at each other like
the whole shit was empty. There was no more booths. It was completely empty, just carpet. And they even took our chairs. Remember they like had we got
started tearing down around us, like giving us the hint.
They took everything.
Industry inks have been around for a while, and recently they expanded their pigment range. Everything from your primary colors, opaque grays, brand new anime skin tone, bright neon fluorescent tones, gray wash set, and black lining ink. If you haven't yet tried out this high quality pigment, head on over to industryinks.com, and with your order you can take advantage of a special promo code using OUTLOUD for an exclusive discount. Try out their new range for yourself, and thanks again for the partnered sponsorship.
So that's why I think it was so monumental for us, though, because we're like early in the years, and we're just so excited. That was exciting for us because we're like, I remember you and I had those talks, man, where we would be like on the top rooftop of New York, and you'd be like, this is sick, this view. Yeah, we're looking the city on top, and like you said, man, we're out there doing with this craft. This craft brought us there.
Right.
And I remember we're in New York or whatever, and we're like staring just across all the buildings, dude, and we're just like,
shit was so unreal to be there from tattooing, right?
You're like, hey, let's go to the roof, let's go to the top. Or each time never fails, if I'm flying in, I'll meet up with you guys. You're already grinding. You're already working. I got videos, pictures, whatever. When I'm showing up to the room, you guys you're already set up. Sweet people will come pick me up or whatever, or like hey, I'm downstairs. I go up, and you're
The grinders
working,
know the room shots.
already working,
Tattooing in the hotel rooms.
already working, and that's just how it was, man. That was the system,
Oh yeah.
I feel like that. So I don't know if you ever like realized a lot of this right here, what you built to this day, it comes from all that, man. It's like
100%.
all the struggles, all the nonstop grinding,
Right, those sleepless nights.
the tread. It's like a treadmill that's just
those sleepless nights.
hard to get off that treadmill. You know what I mean? How'd you get into your first shop? Because you got a first shop.
So I started off at Venice Beach. Sideshow Tattoo.
Shout out to Sideshow.
Shout out Sideshow. That was
Shout out Pint.
Shout out Pint. Yeah,
Pint
straight up Pint. Shout out Boss Man over there. When I started there, I was like maybe a couple years into trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And when I went there, I went for an apprenticeship, right? And back then, if you asked for an apprenticeship, you were kind of laughed out of the shop. You know what I mean? Like, you would go in and ask for an apprenticeship, and they would it was damn near impossible. You had to sell your soul for an apprenticeship, damn near. And, like how, we spoke about this before this, it was like, if you wanted to be an apprentice then, you were scrubbing tubes.
Yeah.
You were mopping twice a day, sweeping, fucking doing the most. You had to really be that guy. And you really wanted it. If you didn't want it, it was easy to quit because it was so much going on, fucking getting screamed at all day.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? It was crazy, right?
There's no book out there that tells you how to treat an apprentice
Dude,
but it was just something that was known, right?
It was
Across the board,
it was a known tradition.
It's tradition. Yeah, that's just how it is.
If you were an apprentice, you were the bottom of the scrotum, right? You were getting treated like shit. And back then, it was a fucking privilege to be able to get treated like shit.
Yeah.
It was like, if you were able to get that, you were, it was a gold mine,
Yeah.
And, nowadays everybody's so soft. When I remember going into Sideshow and asking for an apprenticeship and having a portfolio already of tattoos that I've done and still trying to step back to be an apprentice.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we're not taking apprentices right now. Pint was like, we're not taking apprentices right now, but you can come in and hang out. You can try to learn, right?
Tryouts.
And it was like, you can come help with walk-ins,
right?
And try to see if you're worthy enough to stay here. You know what I mean? And I just knew, all right, this is my fucking run. This is my one chance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This was my one freaking chance at trying to turn this into something, and I'm not fucking this up.
Yeah.
I'd be there every day at 10 a.m., dog. When the shop opened, I'd be there to open the shop. And I'd be there at fucking late night, every night when everybody left to sweep and mop and, And I was never the apprentice. I never got a spot as the apprentice there, I started as a, walk-in artist. Shout out Clever, the homie from Clever from Easy Riders. He always, he kind of plugged me in, and got me the position. And
how'd you know Clever?
I knew Clever through, just the neighborhoods and the homies, LA shit, kind of neighborhood shit, And Clever ended up being, one of a really good homies of mine, and kind of gave me the start in this whole mix,
Yeah.
He kind of gave me the boost I needed to get me into Sideshow, right? Because even up to then, I remember going into shops and trying to get a spot or just trying to even, ask questions. And I'd be looked at he would just fucking look at you crazy. You know what I mean? You'd walk into a shop and ask questions. They would just fucking look at you so crazy. You were in there trying to steal their fucking bread out of their mouth, right? And shout out Clever. He fucking straight up plugged me in and got me a job. But it was such a grind. It's if anybody knows the beach, it's you open at 10, you close at 7.
Yeah.
There's no doors. It's one of those roll-up gates. So you're fucking tatting with the elements. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's hot, it's hot.
I went to my guest spot. I remember I stood up and the beach was right there. But you look
Beautiful
down,
place.
sand everywhere.
Sand everywhere in the shop.
In the shop, yeah.
Dude,
that was wild, dude.
If you didn't constantly clean your machines, like,
oh yeah,
your shit would get rusty from the saltwater air.
You feel the air,
right.
dude, like coming in. You're like, dang, that's straight salt.
But that's one thing in my career I wouldn't change for the world. That place was magical.
Yeah.
To say the least, this shit was magical, bro. It was one of the pivotal moments I think in my entire life where that shit was pure magic, bro, to being able to work.
You talk about character though, because you knew that your title wasn't apprentice, but doing the stuff that's not even expected out of you, they just told you to go hang out and see what's up, but you didn't even like really get considered that title of apprentice.
Right. It was, back then it was like, it was almost impossible to get an apprenticeship under a good shop. Like it was damn near impossible, bro.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was like.
Hey, how long were you there at?
I was there for 2 years.
Oh, 2 years.
I was there for 2 years.
And how did it come about to go do the Inking for Cause convention? That was your first tattoo convention, right?
You know what? So yeah, that was my first tattoo convention. So when I got to Sideshow, I just knew that, it's like, this is what I'm doing, right? So the Body Art Expo came up, and I went to the Pomona Body Art Expo.
That's right, yeah.
That was the first show that I ever walked into.
Fairplex, yeah.
Fairplex, right? And I was so inspired when I left out of the Fairplex to be a tattooer. Back then everybody was there. Roman fucking all the ink slingers, right? Yeah. Master Mike and them. I remember seeing fucking tats that I couldn't even believe that were possible on skin. You know what I'm saying? The shit was just like unbelievable what these guys were doing.
It's kind of an eye opener, and
it was fucking unbelievable, dog. At the time, like as a young tatter totter, right? as a young tattooer trying to figure it out, shit was incredible, bro, right? I couldn't even fathom how these motherfuckers were doing this shit, And then you'd go up there and watch and try to ask questions. You know what? I remember, back then, Fernie Andretti had a booth there, and he did a piece on this dude's stomach. And that shit was like the craziest tattoo I ever seen. And I don't know if you remember Rich Pineda.
Yeah, right? Dude, he was all over the spot.
That motherfucker had, the color shit, right? He had his own inks and shit. Yeah. He did this portrait. It was like Jack Sparrow or something like that, right? It was this portrait, and it was just fucking, it was unreal, dog. Yeah. And I remember leaving from there. And just oh man, I gotta do conventions. If I want to learn how to tattoo, and I want to be in this circuit,
you're
I was like, I got to do conventions.
Yeah.
So I just Googled up the world events.
Oh, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah,
and just found every expo that I can possibly.
It was already
find.
planned on there.
It was every expo. Boom, boom, boom. By United States, you filter. Then you're like,
hey, that's
what
we would reference. You would send me hey, there's this one coming up. What do you think we should go there or what? And I was like, I don't know. The first annual of this or whatever,
You look up the states, then you look up the calendar, then you know what I mean? See which one was possible. And up to then, I was still on parole, so I couldn't fly. Yeah. I couldn't fly, and I couldn't get caught going to these expos because I was violating like a month.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But I couldn't, if I were to get caught going to these expos, I'd get busted, right? And I had a 5-year joint hanging over my head at the time.
Right.
And my PO was a dick, dude. He wouldn't let me travel for work.
I remember they're not budging. They're not.
He was a fucking dickhead, dude. I used to take him all these tattoo convention things and beg him, and he'd be like, "Nah, fuck you." And
dang, you're just a number, huh?
It was just a number, dog. So I would drive. We would drive with Sweepy and fucking try to go wherever the fuck we could go. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anywhere that would give us a booth and accept us.
Right.
We were in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit was wild. Like we were going anywhere. Cal Palace was the best because it was like right still in California.
Still Cali, and it was crack. It was crack.
It was cracking, right?
That was wild.
Fucking
and Pomona
Pomona was cool,
you know.
Right? Time Body Art Expo was the shit, you know. And then they had Arizona,
right? So because you pulled up to that one, the Seaside show, you went with the sideshow banner. That was they already had it made, right? Because I remember you saying
that banner wasn't even an actual banner. It was a pint painting.
It said sideshow, but it was a pint, like his. It had like a top hat.
It was exactly, in green. Yeah. It was a full-on painting, dog. Like,
but who blew it up? Did you just turn it into a banner or what?
Nah, he painted. It was the original painting that I just took.
Oh my god!
It was just painted on some shit that could be used as a banner, and I just took that shit.
My boy, is some history right there,
dude. I'm still trying to figure out if I can find that to keep it. You know,
it was a pretty long one too. I remember it came into my set, and that's how we even started chopping it up because you're like, "Hey, is it cool? We extended into your corner. Remember that when your banner expanded? Your banner came into my side, and I was like, yeah, it's all good because that thing was like so wide or whatever.
Yeah.
And then mine was a little more, so I just scooped my stuff over, and I think it was Sweeps that was like, "What do you think if we take this pole down between us?" And I was like, "It's all good, go ahead." But before that, I remember I seen you guys at that show, the Ink for a Cause. That was
Ventura
first, but you were just passing around because I was next to Master Mike. And
Ventura.
I think you stopped there, and I was next door, and I think Sweep came over, and he came. He's like, when we were working, I was like, "Yeah, come on." So he came around the booth, and he's just checking it out, and I was doing some traditional flash thing. And then he was like, "That's my boy Gunner. He's actually tattooing."
Wait, we just showed up. We didn't have a booth. We were just there hanging out.
You entered. What did you enter that day? It was a piece off of his, right?
No, it was on my girl.
Okay.
It was on my wife's leg. It was like a portrait of her grandma. And back then they had a black and gray, and then they had a rookie.
The rookie,
right?
That's the category.
It was the rookie, and you
couldn't how do you define rookie though, bro?
Well, they were like you had to be tattooing less than 3 years or 2 years or something like that.
Yeah. But I remember you entered that, right?
I entered that, and I just knew we weren't gonna win shit, right? But
you just pulled up though. You're like
somehow, you got to shoot for it, right. So. We won second place, rookie, runner-up.
That award's up there, and I was telling him that thing holds a lot of weight.
Oh, that's one of my most meaningful
the very first
awards
award,
after.
That award kind of was a slippery slope for you because after that, you just got hooked.
Oh, dude, that was
you took off, bro.
That was the convention addiction right there, you know? And back then, like I said, it wasn't even about money, dog. It was like about.
It wasn't
just tatting, and
we just wanted to. I remember you're like, I just want to make something of the name, make something of.
You just wanted to fucking tat, dog.
Just do it, yeah.
You just wanted to be good.
Just do it. You're the passion.
You just wanted to fucking be good, dog. None of that other shit really mattered,
Right.
You just wanted to be good and wanted to be recognized for being good. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to be recognized for fucking, dancing on a fucking social media screen. I wanted to be recognized for
dance for likes.
No, those were the days. Cal Palace.
Cal Palace, though, dude. Days, that was I just Body remember that was the one, man. We went a little harder for those. Remember that splurging on the.
Dude, I remember showing up to an expo, and I bring this shit up, once in a while to the younger guys here. I remember pulling up to an expo with my last fucking couple bucks.
Yeah.
The booth was on a credit card. The fucking gas to get there, the hotels, everything was on a credit card.
Right.
Emmett, shout out Emmett.
Emmett, shout out Emmett.
He was a little guy. He was in a stroller.
You were in a stroller.
He was in a stroller, right? And getting there with the last couple dollars in my pocket, just enough so me and Sleepy could have food, right? Fucking. And we'd grind our ass off to make it back, and
right. It was honestly, a gamble. It was a gamble because not knowing.
A lot of the times we wouldn't even make it back. You know what I mean? We'd make back just enough to get to the next one.
You were in the. We were in the hole a lot of times. Hey, that's crazy, bro. That's really what it kind of defined a lot of things, man. It made us. It built us. You want to talk about breaking someone down and rebuilding them, that like military style, like that. those L's that we just ate up, where we're just like, hey, this is enough to, and I'm just gonna go back to the shop and grind it out. Because we didn't really make it, but we made connections. We got clients.
Right. We got to meet a lot of clients and connections for sure.
Planting seeds of return. You got to go there to just network.
Network your ass off, dude. That's anything. You know, in this game, that's part of the biggest thing in any game. It's
again, Instagram was not as cracking.
Right.
If you want to know a guy, you're gonna go grab business cards.
You had to know the guy.
We're opening doors in Midwest, East Coast, wherever they're from, and be like, hey, every time you come out here, you got a spot, come guest spot, or oh, where you from?
Right, vice versa.
Yeah.
I still live by that. I still live by that. I still love, everyone to guest spot here. Always welcome,
Right.
And, I hope, that'll open up some doors for me and the guys here to go other places too,
Right. Yeah, because that's pretty cool to be, as soon as I walked in here and I seen all this, man, the first thing I said is like, man, he did it, and it's not like this isn't the pinnacle top. I'm just saying like we did it as far as what you said you were going to do.
We're this far.
Exactly. Up to this point.
This is just the beginning, man.
4 years in already for this shop is like, that's pretty fast. I didn't think it was 4 years.
Today, it's crazy that you're here today. Today's 4 years.
So it's 4-year anniversary episode.
This tattoo is a special tattoo, bro.
Yeah, that's it. Price just
4-year anniversary right now.
Hey, the price just went up on the spot.
Price goes up tomorrow. It goes up tomorrow.
Hey, I brought some B-dubs, he said. I brought some Wingstop.
Like the good old days.
So your inspiration, did you find that where you started from the guys around you
Yeah, for sure. I think a big one was, sometimes it's hard to find inspiration around you, especially as a beginning artist, what I mean? Especially at a walk-in type studio, where it's just like a real grind,
It's a street shop, man. It's
a street shop. But, and you know what, back then, shout out to the homie Pin and Pint and them, but it was like back then, I remember trying to ask questions, dog. I remember trying to ask questions about tattooing and being at the shop. And, there was dudes that would be tattooing and they would legit hide their needle wrap. So you couldn't know what they were using. You know what I'm saying?
Gatekeeper.
And gatekeeping was a thing, bro. Everybody was like that,
Yeah.
You would ask questions about fucking needles and they would just look at you like you were fucking asking for their firstborn.
Yeah.
It was just fucking, it was a no. You know what I mean? I remember walking into shops and asking like, oh, what kind of machine is that? And they'd like turn around. You know what I mean? Like, what? Like,
yeah. Do some bootleg off name or something.
It was like that, you know what I mean? And then shout out Dan Dringenberg back in the day. His shit was like the shit, bro.
He definitely held that. You know what I mean?
If you were able to get a Dan Dringenberg, back
remember
then,
that was like that was a name in the Aaron Canes. Remember Aaron
Canes?
Aaron Canes were like the iconic. What do you have? I got the double spiral, and it's like that was like the machine.
You know what? Aaron Canes were so hard to get that it wasn't even like. You know
they're one-offs, man. He makes one and like
it was almost impossible to get
because he carves them with that Damascus steel,
right?
And he's got that.
I feel like down here, everybody wanted a Dringenberg. If you were a tatter,
that's for sure.
Dringenberg
was a name, bro. Dringenberg Company, shout out Dringenberg, man.
West Covina right there when he had his shop on Grand right there, like, dude, that shit was. It was like finding that piece of gold for you. You know what I mean? Like to be able to get that one Dan Dringenberg or the setup, Yeah. And even back then, you kind of had to like. It wasn't like now where you can just buy shit on Amazon, right? You had to like fucking know someone to be able to buy tattoo supplies.
Yeah.
But down here, it was like that. Like you would call Kingpin and they would like straight up not sell it to you. You know?
I remember it was strict like that. Tat Soul was like that at once.
They wouldn't sell it to you. If you didn't work at a shop.
They literally, I remember getting a call one time. They're like, we checked the address. Where's your shop at? They were confirming.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, oh, can you submit your license? And
I remember answering the phone at Sideshow, and them being like, "Hey, does so and so
Oh,
work
yeah.
there?" And I
It
was
was
like,
you?
"Yeah, he works here." It was me.
You're validating it. Huh?
I vouched for myself,
You're a voucher. That was
But yeah,
real.
shit was like
Now
that,
you just
dog.
go to Worldwide, Amazon, all that.
Now you can learn fucking from YouTube. It shows everything, Back then, if you fucking showed somebody how to tat online, you were like shunned in the industry.
Yeah, you were like X'd out, dude.
It was like a secret society down there. Shit was
Boycott.
It was. Now being a tattooer was like special.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's not now, but it was a whole different world back then.
Again, like if people are tuning in and listening to this, it's like you understand this is a story about the upbringing and through our lens and what we went through, what Gunner went through, his environment. So when we talk about these things, again, it's a lot of people may be opinionated and say, again, your area may be different, or you may be down the street and agree or disagree, or whatever, because then therefore your environment, their surroundings may have been different. But everybody comes up differently. You could have a silver spoon in your mouth versus an ankle monitor on your, you know what I mean?
Right. I feel like, but back then though, it was like, tattooing was such a magical thing, dog. It was like, it was more than just a job. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like a career path. You feel me? Like, it was who you were.
Right.
Like who you are.
I think that's why we had these goals and dreams, right? When we talk about it, it was like the whole, we just want to make this not just tattooing, but it's because it was about your name.
It was.
And we understood that very clearly. We were like, well, we just want to make that name resonate.
It was a whole identity too.
Right.
It was like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just like, oh, I tattoo for a living. Like it was you're a tatter, bro.
Yeah.
And everyone knew each other, and it was like a, little community of tatters, dog.
Right. It's like that, dude.
We all knew each other from the expos, and everybody like showed respect and showed love because everyone knew the grind of how hard it was to become a tatter back then,
So since I've known you, like knowing a little bit of your background and stuff like that, how did your family take on you like following this path? Like how did your
So I'm from a traditional like Korean family background, right? And when I told my family that I was gonna tat, they were like, "Fuck's wrong with you?"
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I told them I was a crackhead.
Yeah.
Like
what happened to Gunner?
They were like, "Why don't you get like a real job? Like why don't you do something like?" I remember this is a funny one. I remember my dad sitting me down with my brothers and having like an intervention
with you,
with me for saying that I wanted to tat, right? And I was already working at Sideshow, and he like sat me down and fucking gave me a lecture and was like, "Why don't you be like your brother and like get an actual job?" Like, and mind you, at the time I was probably making $40 a day, $50 a day, if that.
Right.
Sitting there waiting for walk-ins, fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking still giving cut, right? Well, that's after the cut.
Right. It was like, after the cut. You know what I mean? 50%, fucking. You know what I mean? You make $100 in a day for waiting for a walk-in, and then you split that in half. You make $50.
Yeah.
You spend gas, food, and fucking weed, and
you're already in the negative.
$60.
You're in the negative. You're
right.
Yeah.
And I remember having a whole like sit down, like, why can't you be more like your brother and fucking get a job and
that's hard, huh?
Do something right in your, you know what I'm saying? And then mind you, I was on parole and probation at the time, so it was like, fuck, get a job. Oh, and then my chick was pregnant at the time, right? I was about to have my first son. You know what I'm saying? It was like either sink or swim. You feel me? Like
you got to make this crack.
You got to make the shit happen.
Yeah.
And my parents hated that shit, dog. Still to this day, they fucking don't like tattoos. You know what I mean? They sure like the lifestyle that it provides for them now, but
right.
They were always against tattooing.
You can say that was a hard opposition on your end, man. That was a hard.
For sure.
If you want to talk about a challenge or a struggle, aside of what we're already going through, and like to have whether they're on board or not, that could be a really heavy. Like that support system at home, or whether it's there or not. How many siblings do you have?
It's me and 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest.
Right.
I'm the youngest out of 3 brothers. You know.
So
They
like
all
that.
have. My oldest brother. He's a military guy. You know,
Right.
he was in the army.
I remember you mentioned that.
My middle brother. He works for the film entertainment industry. He's in the union and shit like that. So they had actual gigs.
Yeah.
They had actual jobs.
They
I was the
they
guy.
had a paper trail.
All right, I was the guy hanging out at the beach every day. You know what I mean? Talking about I'm gonna make it.
That's hard, bro. That's a hard.
I was the guy fucking borrowing money so I could buy a booth, so I could go to an expo that I'm probably not gonna make any money at. You know what I'm saying?
They're like, why do you like this life? Why are you putting yourself through this? Like,
right. And then having Sweepy on the side was such a blessing because, like you said, he was fucking. Putting in work, grabbing clients for us, helping me fucking set up, break down, running around, getting our shit.
At one point, I thought he was apprenticing. I think I asked him hundreds of times.
And he was like, and more than that, he was just like my straight fucking travel boy, like my companion. You know what I'm saying? It was just me and him on the road everywhere, you know? And
you guys could damn near do a convention just you two.
It was always just us.
Yeah.
It was always just us, you know? Like you said, even in the beginning, like trying to jump in on people's booths. You know what I mean? Remember
straight hijacking pirates,
straight booth pirates, yeah, straight up, just
that's a new term, huh?
Hey, you got any space in your booth?
Yeah,
and we'd like squeeze into other shops that just had an extra space, or hey, fucking, can I tat here?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Just squeezing in and shit. I would tat him, and back then I had no fucking money to pay him for that, right? I would just tat him for free. And he was down to come,
Just getting blasted.
And it was such
solid
a fucking,
pieces too, man. That rhino, how many times you entered that rhino? He has.
Dude, I've probably won 20, 30 awards with that fucking
just
thing.
That one rhino, everyone's like blown away, bro, across the country.
Straight up, everywhere we won something with that fucking rhino.
I love people's reactions though, and you gotta give this cat so much credit, man. Sleepy would just drop down to his trousers, and be like, "Remember that?"
He damn near pull his balls out.
Blue collar families come up to they're just curious about this tattoo convention world. Oh, this is my boy Gunner's work. Here's his portfolio. Check this out. Boom, there goes his shorts. And then he just left his boxers.
It was even funnier.
He did all this right here,
Some of these people never seen a real LA Cholo, so he was like,
yeah, dude. DC was probably like,
he was a real LA gang member. And they were like, he was like a cartoon character, you know what I mean? No one ever seen a real one before.
Talk about a hype man though, bro. Like the hype man of the year.
Oh, nobody could beat him in the hype man.
If that was a category, I think he would for sure. He would take that 100%, bro.
Dude, still to this day, I think he could win that.
Straight hype man, bro. He would hype me up like he knew. Oh, I saw this guy grow up in his style. Oh, he would do that too. He could do. I was like, well, hold on, bro. Like, wait, what are you selling over there, dude? Hopes and dreams, remember that? He was over here like, oh, man,
that fool was a beast with it.
That was an animal, dude. That was just part of that technique. So then at Sideshow, you left. You got plugged in where from there?
So from Sideshow, my homie Bazaar, they had a show called Tattoos After Dark.
Yeah.
And they had a shop in Hollywood called Ink Candy. And it was like a fucking crazy, like, art museum looking shop. Shit was
immersive shop. You walk in. It was
nuts.
It was wild.
They had the fucking, the Michael Jackson stairs going up.
Top of the line. Right? Yeah.
And
that place was pretty decked out with the tent.
Oh, it was decked out, dude. The whole place was airbrushed and fucking they had this big old giant, like, 10-foot couch that like people would just come in and take pictures of, and it was on the show, and there was always celebrities and shit coming in and out.
His whole portfolio was just celebrities.
It was crazy. It was a crazy. Yeah, remember that? It was a crazy fucking place. The TVs all over the place, in the floor. That was a big
floor, no reason. In the bathroom.
In the bathroom.
In the bathroom, marble sink.
Marble sinks in the bathroom, right?
I remember that, dude.
You know what's crazy is that it was right on the strip, next to Oliver Peck's old shop.
Yeah,
True
it was
Tattoo.
True Tattoo. I remember that. It was down the ways.
And those guys fucking hated us, bro, for no reason.
Really?
Because we were next door. And that kind of goes back to the
Old
days of
mindset.
tattooing. Like,
yeah,
if you're in a shop next to us, we just hated you.
You're the
right?
enemy.
Like it was like that, and I couldn't really understand that because we did two different types of tatting. You know, we did black and gray. They did more like a traditional style.
Right.
You know, they were an amazing shop, but
yeah.
they just like didn't fuck with us. You know.
Yeah.
And that shop was so sick, but it was straight up like the nightlife type shit. There was a club next door, and the homie Bazaar fucking just knew everybody. This
Right.
fool was like a celebrity in himself, you know?
He was energy, man.
He was energy. We'd get into the clubs after and shit. Like, it was crazy. That shit was a crazy time, you know? Hollywood Boulevard,
Yeah.
fucking Cahuenga.
That's
10
where
shops, 10 clubs and bars next to
Yeah.
us, you know?
we did. What convention was it when I went up there to guest spot?
Was it a Pomona?
It might have been, dude. It might have been Pomona. When I went there, bro, that was the one time I went to a guest spot and I saw the most celebrities walk in. Like at the time, like Taj came in. Remember that?
Yeah.
And Sendog, and they're just
Sendog.
kicking it.
Ray J used to come in all the
Tattoo,
time.
remember Tattoo? Wild Tattoo, the stories.
Right.
But you're right, man. That was like
That was a crazy fucking
live,
shop,
active.
bro. This shit was active, bro. That
That's
was the time when tattooing was crazy, you know what I
Right.
mean? Walk-ins all night. We would take walk-ins till like 5 in the morning
Oh,
from
yeah.
the club, you know?
Oh yeah,
Drunk people, drunk chicks, like that shit was that was the crazy beginning of tattooing stories, you know?
yeah. You still had discipline through all that though. Like I feel like you always
Oh, I was grinding, bro.
to the day. Like I feel even to this day, man. You could just
Hard to do that, man, when
Just
everyone's
walk in.
having
Yeah,
fun and
it's-
partying, you know?
that's what they talk about. Like those. That's like the that behind the scenes of like the after effect, that life of that rock star life we're talking about.
Right. So I was there for a year, and then the shop ended up closing down, unfortunately. The owner, I don't know, what was going on in his situation, but he decided to close the shop, you know?
Yeah.
And it was one of those, like, kind of one day to the next thing. Like, all right, well, we're closing, guys. Like, I don't know where you guys are going to go, but you guys have about a week here.
Yeah.
Next week, we're done, you know?
Like that's it.
So it's
Clear
like, oh,
house.
shit, like, where are we going to go?
Clear
right?
house. Yeah.
And I have an off story from that. I remember from that when they were getting ready to close down, right? The owner was a homie too, a homie Matt. He was cool as fuck, man.
Yeah.
And he decided to shut down the shop. He wasn't a tattooer. So he decided to shut down. Everybody kind of had to go their own ways. And back then it was really hard to get into a new shop unless you like knew someone, unless
Right.
you were friends with the owners or, it was super hard. And this is where, I'd say networking comes in the most. I remember going to a place called fucking Tattoo Mania on Sunset. You remember Tattoo Mania?
That's right. That's right.
With this dude named Rocco and Danny Wow. Shout out Danny Wow. He really tried to get me in there, but I remember showing up there for my like tattoo interview, and they looked at me. And back then, I had no visible tattoos.
Yeah.
But I had already been, busting my ass, right? And I remember getting looked at and not getting hired because I had no visible tattoos.
Because your profile, like your whole
He straight up was like, "How do I know you're a real tattooer without visible tattoos?" Which never made any fucking sense to me.
That's wild, dude.
But he straight up was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna hire you because you don't have any visible tats." And he just like straight dogged me out. And I was like, "Damn, like I got super reverse profiled. Like, you don't got no tats. How do I know you're a real tattooer? You know?" And I was like, "What the fuck?"
That's wild.
Danny was the only one that really tried to like put me on. He was like trying to speak up for me, But ultimately, I ended up not getting hired because I didn't have tattoos on my forearms or on my face or anything,
That's crazy.
And then from there, the homie Brian Ramirez brought me into guest spot at Under the Gun. And, big homie Chente fucking gave me a shot. And, the rest was history. That place was
That was home.
one of the most magical places I've ever been in. And
That was home for you. And I
that
remember
was an
thinking,
unforgettable
that's
time
tight.
in my life, bro.
Yeah.
Under the Gun, it was like fucking. I think back now, and that shit really changed my whole life.
Yeah.
That was the moment where I got to meet some guys that, and you know, everyone brought in their shit. Like everyone brought in different aspects of how to be successful into that shop.
Right.
And a big part of what I brought was just fucking insanity work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
Raw.
Those guys were so talented and so sick, but you know, some of them didn't want to travel. Some of them didn't like shows, right? And then when I got there and I brought in, you know, the shit we were doing,
right,
it was just fucking exploded. You know, everyone just was like, "Whoa," you know?
Yeah.
Fucking.
So you kind of woke up that like.
I woke up the sleeping giant.
That urge shit, right? To like, hey, let's get back on the road, huh?
Because what we were doing, what me and you were doing, was just, you know, we're from different parts of California, but we would meet up all over the world.
People wouldn't have guessed that we weren't from the same shop.
With that fucking Tats old backpack. Remember that shit? We all had that
big old camper bag. Hey, I still have it. I just kept it.
You still have it? I still have mine downstairs too. So it's just a big old fucking.
Like I showed you earlier, the banner. I kept as much as stuff that nostalgia that.
The nostalgia, dude.
That part of your history, dude. Like that's your own history.
That big old red and black camper bag. Everyone had it, dog. Everyone fucking had one of those.
Everything. You could damn near live off that thing.
You can damn near live off that thing.
You know? I remember you had your printer, your clothes, your
dude, everything was in there.
Everything was in there.
My life was in the Tassel print fucking
bag.
If
someone jacked that, you were done, bro. You had
dude, I used to carry that like that. Like my life depended on it because it did.
It did, yeah.
It did, dude. That thing was.
That was funny.
That thing was everything. I had all my. I remember my ink blowing up in that thing on the airplane. The
inside's
one time.
All black or whatever color cloth.
I was fucking so devastated. I went and bought another one.
That's crazy. I remember the black, dude. The Solon bag. We had that for a while. Remember?
Yeah, the Solon bag. You know what? That shit was kind of built kind of shitty.
It kind of kept breaking out on.
The Solon bag.
I kept one. You know what's funny? They replaced mine. I sent them a picture one time and said, "Hey, this thing ripped up, right?" They replaced it, and it was like the camel.
Oh yeah, the dope one.
And I just kept it to this day in its sealed bag, dude.
You know, back then that shit for tattooers was like a designer bag.
That was that was our Gucci. That was our Louis Vuitton. That was our Louis V. You know what I mean?
Straight up, that was our Birkins right there. You know.
And you know, a lot of people back home, man, like my own clients, when we talk about these stories, because they walk in and they see that, you know, when we first came here, my son, one of the first things he noticed coming up the stairs were the awards. And he's like, "Dad, he has awards that are like, they look similar to yours, like the ones we won at the same shows."
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, son, that's what I've been trying to tell you, that we go like, we were hand in hand at a lot of these places."
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And
we shared a lot of booths at a lot of places.
You know, and like if he was competing, I would compete. Like that was just that push that I had off that, you know, like my surrounding and the people that were like influencing me, fortunately, were the people that were gonna make you better, you know, versus the ones that are gonna like drag you through a wrong path or just kind of like, you know, take you off that deep end. But I was fortunate enough to have you as like that. Anything that I was picking up, watch you work. I tell people, like, you understand, the people that I was working with, their grind was different.
You know what?
If they're succeeding, like we were all succeeding, you know?
I remember you doing 20 tattoos in a fucking day at an expo. And then finishing and taking it back to the hotel to do another few tattoos. How it was, dude. And, you know, when I started doing that shit and people that never done that would see that, they'd be like, "What the fuck? You guys are crazy."
They thought it was different for us. That's just how,
what the fuck are you guys doing?
That's just how we did it, dude.
Like, oh, we're going back to the room. Like, they're kicking us out. You guys want to go back to the room? We fucking tattoo in the room till like 6 a.m, you know?
Right.
And that grind still comes down till today. We still here sometimes till 5, 6 in the morning, you know?
Yeah. No, when you said that downstairs, we were talking about it. You're like, "I'm here 4 a.m, or 3 a.m, I'm gonna go get food. I'll be right back." And I'm thinking, that kind of like triggered those memories. So I was thinking, I was like, bro, that's how it was. I was like, wait a minute.
That's just
I think now I had to slow down somewhere. I'm putting the same hours, but I'm just grinding. I'm starting at 9.
Right.
You know, to finish still at 10 p.m. or something. But if you really think about it, that's like us starting at a convention at 12 and finishing at midnight or 1.
See, I'm still on the convention time.
Yeah, I'm at trend.
I'm not even here till like 1, but then I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
leaving
yeah.
till like 5, you know,
That's right.
4.
That's crazy though. But I tell people, man, I was like, no, there's one dude on my side of the like part of my story, and that's Gunner. When I started this little project, that's what I had in mind. I was like, there's so many stories out there that we're on borrowed time. We pass. Who's gonna know how it was? The next generation, your kids, whatever they're not gonna know what daddy was doing or what their parents were doing or what that grind was like or.
You know, it's crazy having you here and us talking about this shit brings
Did it bring
back
back a
so
little of
much
that? It did
fucking crazy memories, dog.
I think
Crazy fucking memories.
I haven't
bro.
seen you. I just ran into you this last October.
Dude, remember that show in Lake Havasu?
Havasu.
That
I
shit
just
was
brought
crazy.
Havasu up. I was like,
You know what? I remember us. We had the booth, and we just left the booth
You
in
guys-
the morning.
we're gone.
We're on the boat all day
All
with the
day.
homies.
I didn't see you all day until I was like, hey,
And then we fucking I have a video of you on the boat with us,
hey,
right?
you should send me that.
And we went back to the expo midday to go enter
Yeah.
one
That's the
fucking
one time
some
I saw you.
awards,
Yeah.
and then we got
left.
back on the boat.
That was such a. I knew at that point that was more of a chill like vacation.
That shit was
convention.
crazy.
You didn't even do a tattoo there, huh?
Nah, I think they stopped doing that shit.
Yeah. I felt that motivation to just go enjoy life a little bit and go chill on
Yeah.
the boat.
You know,
Being a
I feel
mentor.
like being a mentor, it's a hard thing to do. It's a big responsibility,
Yeah.
and it's seen different these days. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is such. I want to say the industry's soft. A lot of people have gone soft, and back in the day, you were an apprentice. You were treated like shit. You earned your dues.
Right.
And even now, it's like, I don't agree with some of the stuff from back in the day. But at the same time, I do agree with earning your fucking dues. Like, I agree with, you don't just get shit handed to you.
Right.
And this ain't a free fucking ride. We didn't have a free ride. Tattooing should not be free. Like, you should have to earn it. Because when you get out into the real world of tattooing, shit ain't free.
Right.
Right. And, nowadays, these machines that they have, these, shout out Franco, but these bishops, it's straight up plug and play, bro. It just makes life so much easier. And back in the day, it wasn't like that. You had to know who your builders were. You had to be able to tune your shit. You had to there was so much more to this shit than there is now,
Right.
Which is a good thing. It's a beautiful thing. But as far as mentorship, like teaching the next generation of tatters, and it's kind of hard because it's a different world than we kind of grew up in, you know what I mean? That we kind of learned in.
Like, again, back to that generation of where we were.
Generational change, right? So now it's like these guys are all about TikToks. It's all about reels. It's all about, that kind of shit. You got to kind of change with the times,
Right.
Now there's, everything's filtered. Everything's...
Shout out to Helios Tattoo Supplies, one of the newest sponsors for the podcast. I'm proud to be a sponsored pro team member using their needles on the daily. Next time you're thinking about stocking up on supplies, head over to the website heliostattoos.com. Thanks again to Helios for sponsoring myself as an artist and sponsoring the pod. Now back.
I feel like there's a lot of people that aren't really even about tatting anymore. They just want to learn because they just think it's cool, or they think, you could ride a fucking Mercedes, and
it's like a clout thing.
Yeah, it's a clout thing, and it's like a, they think you're just gonna be rich, right? They think you can start tattooing today and make more money than a doctor tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like,
instant results. They want that instant gratification.
That instant gratification, but it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing in this world is like that. You got to earn that shit. You know what I mean? You got to put in that work. And I have an apprentice right now.
He's putting in work, man.
He lives here, damn near. He's in here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He goes home to shower. You know what I mean? And, his girl is also a tattooer. She's over there with Ebone and Ant and Jay at Unmarked, and she's apprenticing and she's busting her ass,
Oh, okay. So they're apprenticing at the same time.
They're apprenticing at the same time, and she's fucking busting her ass, dude. Like, this guy's busting his ass,
That's crazy. I didn't even know that.
So to see that, it still gives you hope for the next generation. You know what I mean? But then you got some apprentices that just think you should give it to them. You know what I mean? They got some apprentices that think like they set up and break down for you and they did a big job, not knowing that they're learning how to fucking set up and break down.
That's like the 101 you have to go through.
All right.
The 101.
And it's like, you know, they feel like, oh, because they're apprenticing and not getting paid, like they're doing such a great honor, you know? But it's like you go to fucking school, you're not getting paid, right? You're paying for the school. It's like, let's say you go to college, right? No one pays you to fucking go to college, right? You're paying for the college, you know? You go to
a lot too.
You go to these trade schools, they're 50 to 100 grand.
Say tuition's up there.
You're not even guaranteed a job after this shit, you know? Here you get to learn a skill that you can carry for the rest of your life, you know?
Yeah.
And they just want it for free, bro. They just want to come in and fucking start tatting and just, it ain't like that, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of hard, like, because, you know, I've even seen the fact that for you to even take on an apprentice, that shows a lot. That says a lot. That says that you're not even, like, back to the whole mindset, how, you know, you would go to a convention and you're trying to, like, network, and you had that mindset to try to build a connection and a community, a tattoo artist community, right? Where it's like, hey, let's all get together and let's just have like an art night, or let's all have a, you know, support amongst the peers, right? And to have an apprentice, that's like you keeping that tradition alive in a sense, in your own systematic, in your own way of what your idea of an apprenticeship should be, but with those fundamental roots. And translated with a very gentleman-like
and I feel like
fashion,
what people don't realize,
yeah,
and this is a big one, Omar, is that what people don't realize is that with an apprenticeship, right, you're not only learning tattooing, and this is a big thing for me in this game, is like, if you get to, like, let's say you apprentice here, we got 10 artists, right, 11 plus me, right, so you get to learn 11 different ways of tattooing. You get to learn 11 different ways of designing,
right?
11 different ways of stencil, prep, set, you know, everything, needles, drop system, everything, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to network with so many different people through the name of the shop. You know what I'm saying? Like, we built this like network of artists and homies that come through here, and over the last decade, you know, that they get to basically have at their fucking disposal,
right,
by being part of this shop. You know what I'm saying? And some, like, I've had apprentices that have quit, you know?
Yeah.
Even recently, I had one that quit, right? And they don't realize that their breakdowns and setups, or their fucking taking out the trash, is damn near nothing compared to the network and the knowledge and the people you get to meet and the shit you get to be around here. Right. If you want to be a tattooer,
the knowledge,
and you know, we got people coming from all over the world here, right, to come guest with us and come, you know, hang out.
All through from what you have built,
right? All through what we've built through the years of network,
like those seeds that you planted, you know,
right? And like, I'll say it right now, as the truth is, you know, me being at Under the Gun, one of the greatest blessings was to be around all those guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And to meet all those people and to fucking build those relationships that are lifelong relationships that I was able to find and build through that shop, dog.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exposure to all that.
Like, even like something like me and you know, we built that on our own, but we, you know, built a relationship that'll be lifelong. You know what I'm saying? Right. We'll be friends and forever, right?
It's a brotherhood thing.
It's a brotherhood, and to be able to get that off of apprenticeship and, you know, meet all these people, that's a huge blessing in itself, dog.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you graduate your apprenticeship, you graduate your shit, you can, you know, go up and work with you. You can go over here and work with these guys. You can go over here. You know what I mean? You're not confined to this shop.
Yeah.
And
like, you have somebody coming in my area and be like, oh, hit up my homie Omar, and they just say, hey, you know, Gunner, send me all day, dude. Get a chair, you know, shoot, I'll leave you a key, hit up so and so, whatever, you know, like, because it's that bond, you know.
It's the network that people fail to see, you know. It's the years of knowledge and network that people forget that is a real thing, bro. It's not a tangible thing. It's not something that you can hold or be handed, but it's a real fucking thing, bro. And which sometimes that's more valuable than anything, you know?
Yeah.
And people don't see the value in those kind of things now. Like, you feel me? Like, that was, as a mentor, that's what I try to teach is like, yo, I'm not the only one that can teach you here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm the owner of the shop. You know, I'm your mentor or whatever you want to call it like that. But, you know, I'm basically just giving you the keys to learn from 10 amazing artists that are here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what do you got to do? Go get their coffee? Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to fucking
break
go
me
out
down a few times?
Like, bro, you're getting a fucking lifelong relationship with these guys that are
stack the supplies,
fucking,
you know
what I'm saying? Like, right, that's all you're expecting. The return on investment on that is
right
substantial, bro. It's crazy the amount of, you know, benefit you get from that shit.
Yeah.
And to think that like people can't handle that is crazy. You know,
it's like literally asking the bare minimum.
It's asking the bare minimum and giving the fucking whole enchilada in return.
Your whole path set.
Your whole life
setting
path.
You for life.
Right.
Yeah.
Your whole life's path, you're giving it up for free.
No, I agree, man.
And, you know,
like I told you earlier, if I had an opportunity to start in a shop where you see, like you mentioned, 11 artists, 11 different styles, and the quality, like...
Dude, the quality of these guys, you know what? The quality of the guys that I have working at my shop is insane.
You have a crew right here, bro.
I get to learn myself. I get to learn from these guys every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, me watching them, it's like having my own fucking school that I get to learn from every day. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the beauty of it, too, is that, you know, again, like, this environment is like, there's no such thing as a plateau. You know what I mean?
Dude, these guys inspire me and fucking make me want to become better every single day, dog. And it's like, and I'm the owner, right? So imagine as a young apprentice, like what you're getting out of this deal. It's like fucking, you know, it's ridiculous. Like you're fucking, you know, and here's the shit. A lot of them don't fucking take advantage. They come, they want to learn for free. They want to hang out. They want to fucking bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And they end up just on some bullshit. Like,
yeah, it's pretty bizarre to think.
You know, and I was seeing this shit on this Instagram. I don't know who the fuck it was, but it was this one, like, influencer that was like, you know, fucking apprentices need to be treated better. And
oh, I've seen that.
Let's make it normal, like, you know, treating apprentices better. And it's like, I mean, I get that to a point, but I also feel like it shouldn't be that easy. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the hazing part, it's part of the experience, bro. Like, it's part of the you know, getting talked shit to, and you know what I mean? Kind of getting fucking...
It builds that skin.
It fucking builds that tough skin, bro.
Toughens you up.
And toughens you up for them fucking clients and bullshit you're going to have to deal with in life, dog.
Hey, like, you have to translate it into terms where we stand today, what we've been through, though. That's what we're trying to, like, really project. Like, toughen the skin, like the name that it carries. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're learning from this like what's exposed to you. You know what I mean? And the connections and you basically brought in receipts into the shop that you could cash in and just be like the vouchers, right? Of all this stuff you learned and all things you've done and been through and have lived through it versus someone that hasn't, and they're going to complain and say, well, don't haze. Have you been through that?
It's crazy to think how the game has changed as far as that aspect. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is so entitled now, and everyone is so, like, you know, they just want everything handed for free.
That's crazy.
And you know, the appreciation for the craft is like damn near gone, bro. Like,
it's like diminished. It's deteriorating. A lot of that, like the keeping that root, the tradition alive of, you know.
Like, you know what? I 1,000% believe in fucking with an apprentice. You know what I'm saying? I'm that guy, dog.
Yeah.
People might not like this. People might say that I'm wrong for it, but I 100% feel like an apprentice should be fucked with.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You should definitely, you know, fucking prank them and fucking haze them and, you know.
Right.
But at the same time, you know, you show them love and you treat them.
You take care of them, man.
You take care of
They're
them.
getting
you know what I'm saying? Because,
in essence, like a really free ride.
You know,
and you're getting taken care of at the same time.
Like, you know what I always like really respected and I always like had honor. You know what I mean? Like I always like looked up to was the Japanese culture of tattooing.
Oh, that's different.
Because that shit's built into their skin.
That
bro.
level,
it's
that
culture,
standard
dog,
right there is a whole new level, right?
And it's like, you know, we don't do that here, but it's like if you're if you're someone's mentor in that world, you're their mentor for life.
For life.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lifelong journey of, you know, tattooing and culture.
Until you pass on, really.
Right. And it's like a family of tattooers.
That's like
you know?
some samurai.
Some fucking
legendary,
shit,
you know what I'm saying? Like
tradition.
Like, you know, the blade masters are apprentices until literally that master dies.
Right.
The guy that's making the katanas.
Bro. Right.
Yeah. Like, you're not no blade master until you're master.
Dude,
you're still an apprentice, bro.
It's hundreds of years of fucking
a long time
learning and skill, and like that shit is amazing. That shit's a beautiful thing, you know?
Yeah, talk about a standard, huh?
But and now it's like everybody just wants to start now. Like they want to learn now. They want you to fucking teach them everything you learned over the last decade of your life.
Or what do I got to pay you to crash course
now?
Me? Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and
that's kind of wild to put a value on a lot of that stuff too. Like when people ask you, put a price on the apprenticeship, how much I got to pay you?
You can pay me whatever you want, but if you don't put in the work, you're not going to learn shit.
Yeah, you're going to get out what you put in, man.
You know what I'm saying? If you're not really trying to do it yourself, like I can't hold your hand and do the tattoo for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can tell you everything that I think you should do.
Yeah.
And what I do, but at the end of the day, you got to draw, you got to, you know, stencil your own shit. You got to be able to read your own stencils. You got to be able to do your own shit, you know? It's not like that no more, dude.
Yeah.
It's not fucking like that no more. Nobody wants to fucking tattoo till 5 in the morning anymore. They all want to go home, you know? Like, it's a different world, dog.
I remember people saying that, hey, get ready to miss a lot of birthdays and get ready to, that energy in your time gets funneled in areas where you're going to have to make it count. And,
right.
You know, it's hard because a lot of us, we ride with that guilt of, the stuff that we missed or whatever. But
you know what? This shit right here, it's, especially in the beginning stages, it's a no days off kind of fucking thing, bro. Even on your days off, you're not off. You're trying to fucking figure this shit out. You're booking clients or, you know, fucking advertising.
When I was up here, you guys are downstairs. Like, no, I'm going to take this time to do exactly that. Responding to like 8-9 people right now.
I sat on the beach in Thailand.
I was going to ask you about Thailand,
clients, dude. You know what I'm saying? I sat on the beach in Hawaii and was responding to clients.
What's Thailand?
Shit was crazy.
Was it tight? What made you want to go out there?
Fucking amazing. My homie was getting married out there.
Oh, gotcha.
And he invited me and my family out there, so you know I couldn't miss it. But it was honestly one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. Asia, we went to Japan and then Thailand.
That's tight.
And that's another thing. Like that relationship was brought through tattooing. You know what I mean? It was a homie I tattooed for a few years. You know, we became real close friends. It was a client of mine that became like my homie.
Yeah. And
now we're straight up like lifelong friends, bro. Like we're damn near family, you know? You know what I'm saying? I was invited to his wedding that it was the only family.
Did you tattoo while you were out there?
Nah, not at all.
Oh, didn't at all, huh?
Nah, not at all. We just went and fucking
That's tight.
Lived it up, you know? She was
Took
sick,
a real downtime.
Real vacation, you know what I'm saying? But still, even then, I was responding to emails, posting shit, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Posting tattoos that I did before, and you know, the grind never stops, bro.
You still have to do something.
The grind don't stop, bro. And as a tattooer, the grind don't stop.
You launched a company with the sleep. What was it? The
sleep guards. Sleep guards. That was the thing. So depending like where you're tattooing, you know, you start leaning real hard on people. And, you know, I came up with a thing so that you don't have to wipe blood off your arm every day.
Right.
You know
yeah, because no matter what, you get this area right here.
Right, no matter what. I know a lot of tattooers can relate, right? Or you get that part dirty. And you know, it's been a struggle, bro, dealing with manufacturing in other countries and dealing with sourcing, you know,
Has that put like
right
a little
material.
bit of a dent, like halt to a lot of stuff, or?
You know what? It hasn't, but it's been a mission, bro. I'll tell you that it's been a journey, just trying to figure out all the like logistics of where to source the shit, where to get it made.
Oh yeah,
you
get
know.
into all that side of the business.
It's
Yeah,
a whole
different
nother thing, you
demon.
know.
Yeah.
Fucking bringing a crate over here from Korea and you
Yeah.
know South Korea, the tariffs, and from China, and from,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's bringing a container, FOB, you know, MOQs, like all that
Yeah.
shit is. It's a different animal in the game, you know. We're actually sold out right now,
Yeah.
and we're on back order, so we're waiting for the next shipment, and it's been such a fucking hassle after COVID and all that
Oh,
shit's
yeah.
been as something just to help tattooers, bro. Like
Right.
that's not something that I
Something practical.
would
like,
make a business,
yeah,
and
it's
make $1 billion, right?
right,
I
it's
just
practical.
it's something that we need.
You need
You
it.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's something that
Part of that PPD, huh?
right, it's part of the PPE. It's
The
something that
PPE,
could
yeah.
help us not catch disease or spread disease.
Right.
And I feel like as tattooers, we need that shit. Dog.
Right.
It's something we fucking need, bro. It ain't something just like a gimmick to make. Like I
Right.
see people wrapping their arms with paper towels. You know, that plastic barrier that fucking gets all sticky and sweaty and shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's cool that you ventured into that as a tattooer for tattooers. A
right.
product like that,
Exactly.
I feel like that goes a long way. Tried and true, tested, you know. I think that's dope that you at least put your name on something, right?
And hopefully, you know, it'll catch on a little more, and it's a product that has never really existed before in the market, you know. Right. Hopefully, you know, it'll give us something to help out, you know.
You have your 4 years here now, and I know you said like this isn't it, like we're still moving forward and all that. Like obviously, that's just the way it is, our pace, right? What do you have as far as like what's next on goals? Like I know earlier we spoke about let's do a convention together, which most definitely, you know, get together and find something that works with our schedules, right? What do you think is next for you here? What's next for you? And
I want to start doing more shows. You know, definitely. I want to start traveling more. And my kids are a little older now, where I can start moving. You know,
right?
I remember back in the days we used to fucking travel with the kids,
rain or shine, right?
Right, rain or shine, man. You make it happen.
Like, sitter, no sitter.
Dude, I'm trying to bring it back to that, you know. And the shop is kind of running itself now. And
wouldn't it be dope to get like a Western Ave booth, corner to corner kind of thing?
Oh, that's coming.
That's what
it's
I'm
coming
saying,
for
man.
sure. That's coming.
Yeah.
I was gonna do that this year at the Freddie's show.
Oh, that's right.
The Ontario show.
Yeah. One of the most impactful things, or a big part of big part of the past was this, man. Like the way we started it. And I was just curious what you want to do, like as far as what's next on you to like the shows and
you know what, honestly,
the shop. You know,
as far as shop wise, my plan is to open like buying a warehouse.
Yeah.
And just having like a big ass. You remember the Fantasy Factory?
Oh
back
yeah.
In the day?
Yeah.
Fucking half pipe.
Where it was like everything was in there. It was like a big playground.
Right. And it was like their office, but it was like a big old fucking.
Right.
That's kind of like my goal. You know what I mean? To just have some shit like that, dude. Like something crazy where, artists from all over the world can come work, and it'd be an environment just for artists.
One huge like a hub center,
a straight where you can fucking come and paint. You know what I mean? If you don't have anywhere to paint, if you want to, tattoo, you have a place to tattoo. Maybe, a station for designers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just the all around artistic environment. You know what I mean?
Sick.
For all types of artists to come and be at. You know what I mean? Be part of.
That'd be tight,
so that everybody can kind of thrive off everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as like where it's not just tattooing.
Yeah, that'd be the most
clothing design, like
what
I mean, everything. I think that's the next goal in the years to come.
Yeah, I know it would be accomplished the way.
A lot of ways to go,
right?
And to build this place, but I think that's the ultimate goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be definitely my ultimate, legacy type goal to build something like that. I think that shit would be sick. Like,
that would be hard. I could kind of envision it just the way you put it together, like just having that open floor space to,
you know what I mean?
Whatever.
Just a big old fucking spot, just downtown LA maybe.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, maybe downtown Orange County. You know?
Orange County.
We'll see where it goes, but
take over a few counties.
Arts District or something.
Yeah, Arts District. Yeah.
That'd be sick. That would be super, super sick.
Somebody to come up to you and just kind of ask you that advice, in your own personal opinion. It doesn't have to be like a tattooer advice or whatever, but through all things you've been through, what kind of advice would you give to a person as far as like what has been so monumental to you, or like your own motive or your own like MO, your own quote of...
You know what? I would say in something like that, some advice to some youngsters or something like that, it'd be, you got to figure out a way to find inspiration in something that you love.
Yeah.
Instead of just going the regular route that society wants you to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to find something that fucking really makes you excited about doing every day.
Yeah.
You know
to show up.
Just, even if it's, any lane, not just tattooing or business or money, just some shit that makes you fucking excited every day to go do that shit. You know what I mean? And
right.
I feel like if you're able to find inspiration in some shit like that, then, you can't lose. Like, that's that saying where if you do something you love, you're never really working.
Absolutely.
That's true, but we're fucking working, bro.
Yeah, this is
we're in there.
Our backs are shot. We have a lot of
back
years
pain,
of
neck
abuse.
Pain, right? Years of abuse.
Years of abuse.
But,
our kidneys are hanging in there, living off that coffee.
Right, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. Yeah, knowing then what you know now, what would you tell yourself? Like, what would you do different?
Nothing, bro. Grind harder. You know what I'm saying? Grind harder.
That's always
find
one of those
balance,
things, right? Like, if you ever ask yourself, like, man, if I knew this, man, those days of self-doubt, right? The days where you're like, man, this might not go anywhere.
There's years of that shit, dog.
Oh, yeah. It's not days, it's years, right?
Years of that doubt, years of trying to find motivation and inspiration in the game,
Absolutely.
And don't be too proud to really put in that work, dog. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? There's so much out there in the world. You know what I mean? There's so much out there for you to get. You got to get it, though.
Absolutely.
Ain't shit free. Nothing's handed to you. Definitely nothing that's worth getting is going to be free.
You got to get after it.
You got to fucking get up there and get after it, bro.
That's words of advice. My boy Gunner. Years ago, one of my birthdays, Gunner got me a nickel-plated Charlie Roberts hard-hitting liner that pushes 14s like butter through butter.
That thing, Charlie Roberts was the man, bro. Shout out Charlie. His machines were
hard-hitting machine. So I had to return the favor. I brought him a martini machine. I said, "Here you go, my boys, for you." I wanted to surprise him with it.
Treasure chest.
Yeah, there it is. I kind of had to repay the favor. But yeah, man, that's something for for your collection.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? Forever grateful for just the motivation, everything, my boy. All the struggles, the L's we ate. You know what I'm saying? But
the struggles, huh?
Where could people find you, bro? Where could people find the shop? What's the information and all that good stuff for the gram?
You can find me on Instagram on Gunners_Inc. At Instagram, or Western Ave Tattoos.
Western Ave
at Instagram.
Right here in K-Town. You guys check it out.
Yeah, man, LA, K-Town.
LA, come through.
That's what it is,
Come check out the shop. There's 11, like you said, 11 artists here. Lots for you. It's like a mini convention when you walk in here, man.
That's how it should be, right?
Hey, man.
That's
again,
how the shit
flowers
should
to
be.
you, man. This is a like you said, so far up to this point, all the things that we've accomplished, man. I'm super proud of you, bro.
Thank you, bro. Likewise.
Like you said, I've seen you flourish from your very beginning. To see your growth, man, and to where you're headed too is like, as a brother, I just want to say, like, proud of you, dude.
Oh yeah, thank you, bro. What you get lost in the grind.
Oh yeah.
And then thinking back right now and talking to you about all this shit, it's like, fuck.
It connects you, right?
It's
We're
been a
just talking
while,
right now,
man.
dude, and you just go down that memory lane, rabbit hole.
Fuck, it was a great talk today. That shit was brought up so much old memories and shit that I had.
Good stuff. We have it documented now, so we can just reflect and hear it back.
Right.
Credit where credit is due, right? Appreciate you letting me host here at the shop.
Oh yeah, appreciate you coming out,
yeah,
man.
absolutely, man. It's dope to finally do this. And
Yeah, you gotta come work.
Yeah, I gotta come work, man. I
Come give me a tat.
Yeah, I gotta. We'll
Let
trade,
me get a tattoo.
We'll trade some spots, bro.
Oh yeah.
With that said, man, this has been Tattooing Out Loud. Thank you to everybody tuning in for this one. Like I said, we'll have the links to Gunner's work. As this is going, I'll have the slideshows of all the stuff and the things that he's working on at the moment. Again, he's doing a service dog. If you have one of the camera angles, you just got a free seminar to what he's doing on that side while he's talking. Thank you, Gunner. Thank you to Western Ave, all the artists here. Appreciate you guys and letting us host, man. It's been real. Later on, guys, on the next one. Peace.